Let's see here. Alright, you'll all have to give me a minute to get things set up properly. Come on, Internet. Come on. Cleaning my eraser the Lego patented way. It's not patented. But, you know, it works. That's all that matters. Come on. Having trouble with my internet today. It has decided to be slow. I hope you guys can see this okay. Looks like you can. Alright, so while I'm waiting on my internet, here, lots of cleanup work to do on this piece. Something I've been working on for a while. Having troubles drawing lately, but hopefully this will turn out the way that I want it to. Hopefully. Okay, try that. That definitely looks better. Eventually I will hit this with some ink, but for now this is what I've got. I'll get my inking stuff out for you guys if you are really interested in seeing me do ink. But I know a lot of you wanted to see me actually draw. So, here you go. I am actually drawing. Now this is actually, give me a second. Come on. There it goes. Alright, this is actually a redo of a piece that I did a really long time ago. This is a copy of that piece right there. This one was done in 2016, and no, this is not actually a printed copy by a printer. This is something that I actually did by hand a second time. This was before I actually started using printers to copy my work, which I use now. But that is the piece that I'm trying to recreate here, and I'm hoping that I've got everything set right, at least for settings and stuff on the stream. This line should not be here. I was just trying to show that if your base shapes are off even the slightest little bit, you mess with the rest of the drawing. And in fact, I'm going to redo this line just like this. Hope I'm not getting in the way of the camera too much with my hand. I can't really see whether I am or not. There. And again, just cleaning up some lines with my eraser. This is why I like square erasers, because it is easy to clean your lines up with square erasers. And if you're wondering what eraser I'm using, that is a Pentel eraser. My favorite erasers, but it works, and that's all that really matters. To be honest, if your eraser works, then who cares? Normally I like much cleaner erasers than that. This one tends to get dirty rather quickly. and it doesn't erase very cleanly. But I currently don't have any of those nice clean erasers that I like. They all seem to have disappeared on me. So this is what I will be using. Okay, let's see if I can get this working properly. And I'm probably going to have to mute this so it doesn't ricochet around my room and pick it up on the microphone. Go on. Go on. Thank you. I don't know if it's going to play an ad or not. I apologize if you guys hear ads. I don't even know how loud the music is, so you guys in the comments will have to tell me if it's too loud or too quiet. Alright. And the big question of the day is, will the music play? And the answer is probably not. I have to do this then. Sorry guys. Hit my table with my knee. Alright. Well, that's not working. Alright. So this down here is just simply to have guidelines for the rest. For the most part, all of this down here is not important. But I decided that I was going to do a sort of, well, lots of layers, which is something that I should do more. I'm still learning how clothing works and all of that. Let's see. I think that's too low. I think there's where I want this to end. Something like that. So then all of this will be erased, just like so. And there's that eraser being a dirty eraser again. Streaking my letter all across my page. There we go. Something like that. You got to be careful with these curves, or these angles right here. If you guys can see that well enough, you got to be careful with those, because I found if you put on too many, then you tend to lose the shape of the body and it just doesn't look right. Hearing things rattle, but I don't know what they are. Okay, so we'll go like that. Put the arm back. This is a very inefficient drawing process. Honestly, all of my drawing processes are very inefficient. But I get it done. It works. It's not the best. But all that matters really in the end is the picture. Okay, so you'll notice that I've done collar here, but I haven't done actually the color of the shirt. And mostly that's just because I'm still deciding. Still deciding on what I'm going to do up there. Put that in there. A couple of those. To be honest, I don't really know what I'm doing as far as art goes, but I somehow manage. And that's really all that matters. You don't really have to know how to get there. All that matters is that you got there. You drew the picture. You do it at whatever pace you feel like, to be honest. I want to move faster than I do. This is me just kind of casually drawing. This is my casual speed. If I really want to draw something fast, I, well, generally move faster. Also, you'll notice I will go back over the same lines over and over again, and like I said, it's not very efficient. But it really ensures that when I go into my inking, I don't accidentally get a line that I don't mean to by doing this. Mostly I do it, well, so it's clearer for myself. I think I'll do a line there and a line here, like this. Maybe I'll throw one down there. Yeah, why not? It wasn't in the original piece, but that's fine. It's not like there's going to be somebody screaming at me, oh, it's not in the original piece, you know, it's some really awesome piece that some really famous artist drew, and you shouldn't deface their work, and who cares, I drew it. So, you know what, I think I might just stick this, let's see here. No Steam, stop bothering me. Steam on my laptop, it always wants to be, you know, wants to be open. Okay, I'm thinking I should put this, if I can, yeah, there. I should put this actually here. Maybe scooch this over a bit. There you go, guys. Now you can see what I'm shooting for. Alright. What? Does that say YouTube is not receiving enough video? Okay, one moment. Let me fix it. I discovered, actually, the last time I did this, that I can adjust the output midstream. Alright, let's try. No, not 4,000. Could not handle 4,000 bits on my internet if I wanted to. Okay, give that a shot. See how that does. I lowered the quality substantially. Maybe, just maybe, it's good enough. Not really. Oh well, the video. That'll work. Oh boy. Okay, this is gonna be like this. None of my music is gonna work properly. Yay. We'll just forget the whole music thing. I'll get that set up for next time. Here. There we go. Move this over here real quick. Now I can see everybody who's watching. Alright. Well, this stream has not been going particularly well for me. Just like the last stream I did. That didn't go very well for me. But that's okay. Don't learn anything if you don't make mistakes. Apologize that I do not have any music going. Okay, now what am I going to do here? And what am I going to do there? Also here. Perhaps, just maybe, we do this. clothing chunk here, like so, ends there, and then something else underneath of it. That might work. That might work. Just clean this up real quick. Come on. Oh, great. It's smearing. No, eraser. Why must you do these things? Erase cleanly, please. Thank you. Alright. So now we have this kind of bumpy edge sort of thing here. It's going to go around like that. And then how are we going to do this? Perhaps something like this, maybe? To end over here? Yeah, that'll work. Clean up my baselines. Yeah, that could work. And we can keep this one. That's fine. And we need more of these here. This is where right here where you can convince people that that's actually fabric folding. Art is often about illusion and showing that you can draw something that's not flat even though it is. Things like that. It's it's, yeah, illusion. So we'll end that there, I think. That'll be more like here. That's where it would end. And then now we have this. Now because I did this down here, right, I want to have another layer down here. Jazzy, did you close the door on yourself? One moment. There you go, Jasmine. Sorry about that. My cat closed the door and she couldn't get out. Okay, so in the original I have this going on back here. I've been trying to replicate that by doing this. It's sort of been working. I guess it works. It's a little bit different over here than it is here, but that's basically what I was shooting for. Something like this. I still don't really know how to draw feathers, but that's alright. Maybe I'll come at this again some other time and I will know how to properly draw feathers. The likelihood of that is slim. Okay, something I've been really liking to draw lately is turtlenecks, surprisingly enough. And so, a turtleneck I shall draw. One moment, as I clean my eraser again. So, I'm gonna leave that. You know what? No, I will erase this, but you'll see I'm just gonna change it. I'll change it by doing something different. Then I'm gonna erase along there too. And you'll see why. Now, something that you don't want to do, I see artists make this mistake all of the time, is they lean in too close to their work. The only time you want to lean in, really lean in to your work, is if you're working on a fine detail, a really fine detail. Like, for instance, the eyelashes up here, which I will do a little work on right now. This is about the only time you want to get in really close to your work. And the reason is, of course, so you can actually see the detail that is going on in there. Stuff like that, just really, really fine stuff. Because otherwise, if you are really close like this all of the time, you can't see really the whole picture of your work. And so this, being further away helps. So right now I'm worried about line thickness and where the line is going and all of that. And I probably worry a little too much about this. Yeah. Of course, it's clear that I need to do some erasing on this piece still up here. Still much erasing to be done. Much erasure is needed. Is erasure a word? No, but I think it is now. We've made our own words. Okay. I do that all the time, actually. I make my own words. Usually it's by accident, but I've come up with some pretty interesting things in the past. Chinese, the banang, like a flash banang grenade. Just silly, silly stuff. They're usually pronunciations, but sometimes I just come up with my own words. Anyway. Alright, so now I think I'm going to show you yet another trick. A fun trick. I'm going to grab another piece of paper here. Now, you probably shouldn't do this on top of your drawing surface because it will likely leave dents, but I need a really fine point on my pencil, and because I'm using a Kurutoga roulette, any Kurutoga has the spinning clutch sort of deal. If you push too hard on this pencil, it will rotate the lead, which is what I do not want right now. I want the lead to get a fine point. So, by rubbing lightly on a piece of paper like this, you can get a sort of chiseled edge to your pencil, which allows you to get sharper, finer lines. So in this case, normally you don't want a fine point on your pencil like this, or a flat point on your pencil, but in this case, I want it for a really sharp line. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see that all too well. I'll put my finger underneath of it, but I've created a very sharp point on one edge. I'll just move that. Okay, so now that I have done that, I can now go in and create the teeniest, tiniest little fine details you could possibly imagine. Like that. I've now basically gone from using a butcher's knife to a scalpel, basically. So fine lines are easy. Sorry if I go on about the same subject, but it needs to be done, it needs to be talked about. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the collar here, just like this. I'm going to bring it out because, because it's supposed to be out there. Erase a little bit, and here you go, guys. Alright, so now, the reason I did that was so I could get these hyper fine points in the hair. Just like that. And little strands of loose hair, things like that. They're very easy to draw now because I have this fine point on my pencil. You'd think it would be cheating, or almost cheating, but it really isn't. It's just about knowing how to shape your lead. It's actually a old drafting trick, something like this, where you shape your lead into a fine point so that you can get smaller lines and details. It's just something I picked up along my art journey, if you could call it an art journey. Now, thinking about the way that fabric sits, I know that this is going to want to go this way, something like that, because all of the weight of the fabric is down this way. But the interesting part is that some of the fabric's going to want to go this way, but some of it is going to want to go this way. And so you have to try and figure out how to communicate that to the eye without it looking too weird. And it can be difficult. I have failed it several times. I'm actually surprised that I got it right this time. Somewhat right, anyway. Looks okay. Could be worse, could be better. Yeah, why not? Art is all about experimenting and trying new things. Often it's about trying a new supply or utensil that you never thought would work. It's actually one of the things that led me to get this mechanical pencil, is trying something that I never thought would work as an art supply. And it was the Kurutoga version 1, which I will go grab real quick because I have the version 1 right here. The reason I say version 1 is because it has no special features at all other than simply the rotating lead. It does not have a retractable tip. It does not have a fancy eraser. It is just this. And it would be very easy to get this confused with the pipe slide, which looks really, really close, but it's not the pipe slide. So I upgraded to this guy, finally, and I really like this one. This is a huge difference between the version 1 and this. And I wish I could just hand it to you guys so you could feel what it's like, but I can't. What I can tell you is that it is a very smooth pencil, and I enjoy writing with it and drawing with it. It's initially designed for writing, sorry. It's initially designed for writing, but it's very good at drawing too. At any rate, so now I think I'm going to pull off a calligraphy trick. I think I'm going to do some hatching. Now, normally you see this kind of stuff with pen, but because the mechanical pencil has a fine point, well, one of its strengths is that you can do hatching like this and it will look good because it has a consistent line, the mechanical pencil. Whereas the standard number 2 will not do this quite as well, and it won't do it with such a fine point. Things like that. The mechanical pencil has a lot of advantages over the standard number 2 pencil, sort of wooded pencil design, but it also has a lot of disadvantages. For one, it is not very good at filling in large areas with lead. It's actually quite bad at it. Mechanical pencils, not just this one, but any of them. They're very bad at filling in large areas with lead. They are very good, however, at extremely fine and precise drawings, which the standard wood pencil couldn't even dream to achieve. And the wood pencil is much better at filling large areas in. It really all depends on the kind of stuff that you do. Every artist prefers their own little things. Me, I prefer mechanical pencils, simply for their precision. I like the preciseness. Okay, so we got a hair there, give another one there. Let's see, maybe one here. My hair tends to do this. It will grow unevenly for some reason. Maybe a line there. really fine line. Maybe another one there. All of these lines, while they might look a little crazy at first, actually add to the picture quite a lot. And I find that the more lines you place, the better it looks. It's just a matter of where you place them. If you place them in the wrong spot or in the wrong direction, it tends to not look very good. But if you can get it to the point where it will, well, where your hair is all flowing in the same direction, and it looks like it's all flowing in the same direction, it winds up looking better than it is. It's kind of weird. So I'll do that, and I'll put in one hair right there for the rest of the hair that you can't see because it's being covered up by the face. Make sure and get that in there, this dark area. And let's see, what else have we got? We've got all of this down here. Let's deal with this. This is coming down like this. Honestly, this is actually really helping me thinking about it like this. But because of the waist being here and the hips and all that, it's actually being pushed out a bit, like that. So I need to think about that as I go through this. Thinking that might work. I feel like this spot is too bland. Or maybe I just need a stroke like that. Not sure. See, this is where I get confused. It's right down there. I'm still learning. You're always still learning with art. Something I need to tell myself more often. You're always learning with art. Let's see here. Back up. Okay. Yeah, okay, this definitely is not working. See, I backed away from my picture, and now all of a sudden, I can see that that line needs to be extended out. I can also see that maybe there should be another one right here. This should be like that. I'm going to just very quickly erase this. Yeah, that helped a lot. Straighten out this line. Okay, so then can I do this? Will this work? Yes, that worked. All right. Something I've noticed about mechanical pencils in general, well, things in general as far as pencils and stuff go, the finer point it is, the more I feel I can get away with. I feel like I can do more with it. My drawings turn out better, it seems, the finer point I have. Something worth noting. You would think that with the smaller utensil like this, you would think that it would be more difficult to draw, but actually I find it much easier for some reason. Maybe because I can make just as many strokes as I normally do, but it doesn't create as thick of a line by doing it. Maybe. Not sure. Oh, you know what? My computer fell asleep again. I can't see your messages, if you sent any. Okay. I know that drawing on my channel is not super duper popular with people, but I like to do it anyway because there are the few who watch, and often enough when I watch other YouTubers, they do not listen to the small few people who want to see something else, something different. And so I try and listen to those people, and I try and get stuff like that done. So what better time to do it than in a live stream? Alright, so what I just did there was I went in the opposite direction, which creates sort of a boxy grid sort of look. It's a strange look, but if you're going for a woven sweater sort of a thing, like I am here, then it's good. Because that is exactly what I'm looking for. From the distance, it looks woven. And actually, a lot of clothing does have this sort of woven pattern in it, but you can't really see it. Well, most people can't see it. I don't know. I've always noticed it. This woven pattern in clothing. I don't know. Of course, I'm kind of weird. Anyway, there's that. I should do down here as well. That way, and I'm going to do a third direction to really show the woven pattern. Alright, the tip of my pencil has dulled as well, which is fine because I don't need fine points anymore. Right, what am I going to do down here? This area. I think I'll do some more of this. My paper is moving on me. Like that, and then I'll go this way. Again, trying to get that woven pattern in there. Especially on this side where it's dark. Because I can get away with it. Okay. So, I probably shouldn't do that, but I'm doing it so I can do it with a pen later. I plan on doing this in pen. Let's see. Something. I think I'm going to sharpen my pencil and try and straighten out some lines that I see. So like I said, the straighter your lines are, the easier it is to figure out what on earth you were trying to do. So like here, I can see that this line is nowhere near straight. Nowhere near where I want it to be. I mean, honestly, I could spend hours and hours just doing that, sitting there, finding the teeniest, tiniest little detail that is out of place and correcting it. Okay, so I think we'll move on down here. Something that I have not been very good at lately is drawing skirts and things, but I'm going to try and draw one anyway, because learning is good. Learning is something you should always try and do, even when you don't feel like learning. Okay, then I think I will take my fine eraser. I gotta be careful with this though, because I don't have any replacements for this eraser. Maybe I should just break out my actual fine eraser. Maybe I'll do that. One moment, I'm gonna go get my actual fine eraser. Alright, let's see. Here it is. Okay, I found it. I have too many art supplies for my own good. But it's better to have more than you need than not enough, I have discovered. Okay, so this is kind of a hard eraser. This little guy. This is not a mechanical pencil. This is an eraser. Let's see if I can... Yeah, okay. Good, it's working properly. Just clean it again. This thing gets dirty fast because it's tiny. You're not supposed to really do a whole bunch of erasing with it. Okay, so I'll do this with this over here. Okay, good to go. This can go over there because I do not currently need the Kurotoga original. just quickly put that in there. Yeah, alright. So, to tackle the skirt. Now, depending on what kind of skirt you are drawing, it will act differently. Also, depending on the material. So what you've got to think of when you're drawing something like this, any clothing at all, is what's underneath. Right? You got to think of what's under, which is the most important. Gravity, and then material. I don't know if you guys can actually read my handwriting, let alone see it. But there you go. But you got to think about what it's made out of. Is it thick? Is it thin? Stuff like that. This one, I think, will be thin, which means these lines are now useless. So thin material will follow gravity, it will flow, it will do things like that. Whereas thick material, while it will follow gravity, it won't flow. There's a certain flow to fabric that you will see in thinner fabrics, but not thicker fabrics. For instance, denim. You can put it in its place, and it will pretty much stay there. But silk, on the other hand, will not. This is very important. So I'm going to pretend that there is a little bit more underneath of here than there actually is, and then work with that. And voila, that is what we have. I'll even break out my Copic markers a little later and color this. Okay, so this is what we've got. I think the actual drawing will end somewhere around here. Maybe there. Yeah, actual drawing will end somewhere around there, but I'm going to do a little bit more than that. I think I might even do the background for this, which is something I don't do very often. So I should do that actually more often. I'm going to do something like this here maybe, and it will end over here somewhere. Okay, so here's how I'm going to do it. Geometric shapes in backgrounds are amazing. You can color them, you can do whatever on earth you want with a geometric shape in the background, and it will not detract from the picture at all. Just don't do too many of them, because that will detract from the shape, or from the picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just roughing in a shape. I think it'll be something like this. It's sort of square shaped. Triangles are amazing for this. I rather like triangles for this, but you can do whatever on earth you want. You could put a star back there for if you wanted, you know? I've actually done stars in the background before. Do a moon. In fact, I might just do a moon right here. And the great thing about doing drawings like this is you can put something of one style, like this, up front, and do something of a completely different nature in the background, like what I'm going to do. This is sometimes used in 3D animation and cartoons. Sometimes I will see a moon sort of done like this. Things like Kubo and the Two Strings, I believe, use something like this. Occasionally you'll see this in Disney stuff, actually. But there you go. Just a little bit smoother than the way that I did it. And yeah. There you go. Colored in the light blue and voila, a moon. Now, what I'd like to do is I will color this or whatever. I think I might have some fun with the color when I get there. Something else that I would like to state is that I am indeed colorblind, so if the colors turn out weird or wonky, I apologize. But there you go. That's kind of why I use Copic markers, actually. Little secret. Man, I'm just giving away all kinds of free tips here. So I am going to do a fun trick, drafting trick. I'm going to take a mechanical pencil. I'm going to use it as a ruler. And voila, a straight line. So now we have this to work off of. I should have done this in the beginning anyway. But there you go. That's our straight line. The rest of this is not needed. I was going to rotate the paper, but I won't. Voila, straight line. Then I like to have a lot of fun with that too. Okay, so then, because I'm going for straight lines, do that and that. Yeah, see, that one was way off. And then I know that one's not straight, I can see it. But judging by that, there we go. So then our actual box ends here, on that corner, not there. Looks like it's about time for me to clean that eraser again. Maybe next time I do a stream like this, I will actually have a better eraser. But we will see. Okay, so that is cleaner. So now I'm going to have some fun. This is something that I like to do. I like to put a sort of thick border along the edge, like this, of the shapes that I do in the background. Not quite sure why, just something that I picked up that I like to do, and it was fun and it worked, so why not? And now that I've got my perfect angles lined up, honestly, I don't even have to fill this in. I just have to get the shape down so that when I come back with ink, because I will do this in black, when I come back with ink, then I'll be right on top of the graphite anyway, which ink doesn't like to sit on top of graphite very well. Something worth noting. And there you go. Now some people like to airbrush this kind of stuff. I actually haven't tried that yet. I might try that. I have an airbrush and airbrush system sort of deal. It's not particularly fancy, but it works, and that's what matters. It is unlike my pencils, which I use pencils like this all of the time for everything. At least when it comes to writing and the like. I use these at school, I use them to draw. It's just stuff that I do with them, you know. Mechanical pencil is as important to me as bread is to you, pretty much. So, knowing the way that it works and really how to use one is very important to me. Okay, so this, I'm going to actually end it there. Something to note about drawing skirts, you might want to draw them like this with the great big curve on the bottom. Skirts, when they sit, you know, when they're being pulled by gravity, when they sit down, stuff like that, they don't tend to sit round like that. They actually are more flat. They're more like this, and not like I showed you before. Legs are there. Oh, just about. Yeah, just about there. Okay, making sure that I get my legs in properly, which they look fine. Right. So, skirts will often sit like this, not flat. Also, depending on the type of skirt, there are pleated skirts. There are all kinds of different skirts, definitely worth looking up, though it might be kind of odd if you're like me and you're a guy. That's what I mean by that. Anyway, it might be kind of odd, but if you're an artist, it makes sense. You research everything to be able to draw it. It's important. So that is about how you draw a pleated skirt on the bottom, and then you do sort of this, and voila, it looks pleated. But because of what I'm doing, I've just changed my mind. I do that way too much. Because of what I'm doing, I want a smaller pleat, and I want to do this. So I'm going to put a bit of space between my pleats, which is a little unusual, but it will make sense in the end. And you will see. Something like that, I think. This is where I'm going to need this piece of paper again, because lines have just gotten thin. Let's run this way a little bit. One of the things that the Kuru togas will do is they may not spin while you're working with them lightly, like this, but they spin when you need it, when you're working with really dark lines, really pushing hard on your lead, and you want a really sharp line, they spin then, and it's great. There we go. Nice sharp point again. Alright, so I'm going to just quickly, right there. Alright, so now I'm going to get in really close to my paper. Really, really, really close. I'm going to work on my lines. Like this. In fact, you guys can probably see some of my face. Now notice I have a lot of lines that are very close to being the same. I want to try and avoid that. You will sort of see something like that. Well, you'll start to see stuff like that. You want to avoid having lines the same thickness, stuff like that. You'll start to understand the more that you go and draw and do stuff like this. So now, because I've done that, I want to do some going this way. Again, doesn't have to be amazing, looks terribly liney, but that is what it is. Okay, so using that fine point got me the nice sharp lines that I needed. Don't even get me started on wind. Wind is a whole problem all on its own. Water is even worse. Water is worse than wind. Try and avoid water and wind in your drawings if you can. Unless you really, really, really want to have it in there. Try and avoid it. Okay, so now I'm going to work on the landscape. The landscape behind her will be around there. I'm thinking fire pit, large fire pit here, because this is closer. Note, I am not really drawing any particularly hard shape or drawing particularly hard. I'm just simply drawing a circle. Then I need some shapes like this. These will all be jet black. You will see why. I'm going to try and draw this one real small, like this. Fitting with the theme. Themes are important. If you're going to work with a theme, make sure you stick to it. Don't stray from your theme too much. This is actually a little backwards from the way that I did the first one over here. This one was not placed at night like this one is, but that's okay. So then I'll do this to remind myself that that needs to be filled in. I'm going to draw some grass. Grass is actually very easy to draw when you know what you're doing. It's as simple as a few squiggles and some long streaks. just go outside sometime and try drawing things like grass. I actually learned to draw grass both left and right-handed because the strokes going that way are somewhat difficult if you're right-handed. The strokes going to the left, and vice versa. If you are left-handed, it's difficult to draw strokes to the right. So oftentimes you'll see left-handed artists with their characters done this way, and right-handed artists with their characters done the other way. I'm not actually left-handed or right-handed, so you never know what I'm going to do. Though, this is a problem now, I think. Actually, no, it's not. My light is actually coming from right here in front, so that's fine. I'll work with it. Yeah, okay. And I think I want that a little bit longer. Just a little bit. Okay. We, I think, are almost to the point where I want to actually break out my ink pen and do ink and stuff. I think I'm going to do a couple more, maybe one really big teepee right here. They look almost like volcanoes, but they're not volcanoes. Just remember that. And something I have never done before that I should do, maybe some smoke, like this. Smoke is just simply lots of little circles in a sort of shape. The clouds are kind of like that too. You'll see when I get into the coloring, it won't, none of this will matter. None of my shapes and stuff that I'm drawing will really matter. But it's important to think about that stuff. Okay, and then there's often little doors like this on them. Gotta think about how people are gonna get in and out, you know? Like that. This one I'll do a little more detail on. Sometimes they have flaps like this that stand up. Sometimes they're just simple openings. All depends. Now, because of the way that I'm doing this, I think, first of all, we need rocks right there, like that. And something else we need, get a few more rocks in. Rocks are very easy to draw. If you do not know how to draw rocks, draw a bunch of jaggedy squiggles, and you will find some rocks in there somewhere. That's pretty much how I do it. Jaggedy squiggles. I'm going to make sure and draw that nice and dark, because that is the way I want to do it. Alright, so I've got all of this detail over here, right, over on this side, but I need something right there to balance out the picture. People talk about balance all the time, but honestly I say go with your gut, you'll figure it out. You know, your brain knows how to balance things all on its own if you just give it the chance. So, what am I going to put there? I know. The one thing that I haven't done yet. This is so small and far away, I may just do this all in black. Just do that. This is almost reminding me of the movie Avatar, the Disney Avatar. Not the Nickelodeon Avatar, that's a completely different Avatar. Though Disney probably owns both of them. Okay. Yep. And I solved my problem. You know what? I think I'm going to do a rock right there. Just like that. And yeah. I'm really not liking this down here. I'm seeing way too many lines. Way too many lines. let's adjust this. Take it back to there. You know what? That actually works just on its own. Couple here and there that are really long, but for the most part, short. Yeah, that solved the problem right there. Yep, okay. I think it may be time to break out pen and ink. Just straighten that up. Yep. Okay, pen and ink time. Go get those. Okay, so I have a old pill bottle and an ink jar. I use old pill bottles for my ink jars because they are easy for me to find and because they are rather non-stick to ink. They work pretty well for that. Ink doesn't like to stick to it. I've used this jar, see here? I've used this jar 4, 5, 6 times, and that's about the amount of ink that's stuck to it, right there. And the ink that I am using is here. Sorry, there's the brand. If you are interested, it is a Japanese ink. It is Sumi ink, for those of you who cannot read Japanese. And it is very good ink because it is very thick. It is made out of pine tree resin, and because of that, when it dries, it is a very, very strong, excuse me, very, very strong ink and difficult to erase off the paper. Oh, you know what? Something I forgot to do, and I don't want to freehand it, is the detail right here. I totally forgot to do that. There definitely needs to be something here. Something maybe tribal, something like this, maybe. I'm gonna do a face on a face. Faceception. That's what we're gonna have here. Faceception. There we go. And these things are often boxy and stick-like and tree-colored. Yeah. Simple, easy, not what I was looking for, honestly. I'm thinking swirls, actually. Yeah, I'm going to do swirls, because I like swirls. Who doesn't like swirls? Probably somebody down in the comments. There's YouTube for you. Then, we'll be done with these in a minute. You can go overboard with your swirls. It is possible. But not in this instance. I'm going to grab my laptop charger real quick because my laptop is dying. Say goodbye to the laptop, everybody. It's dying. Okay. Goodness, how late is it? When did I start this stream? I don't remember. Does it matter? Nope. Normally my pieces take about 2 hours to complete with ink drying time, full drawing, stuff like that. However, it depends from piece to piece, how complicated they get, things like that. I don't often draw backgrounds. If I calculated in time for backgrounds, it probably would be a little more. But there you go. Okay, so when it comes to the smoke, I'm going to leave that. I'm not actually going to draw the circles there. and you will see why in a little bit. Well, relies on the harsh black lines or white lines that I draw with. Now, when you are working with pens such as this, like I like to work with, it helps to have a second piece of paper handy to avoid ink blobs, which I have done. Okay, when doing ink, always, if you are right-handed, start on the left side of the paper. Opposite if you are left-handed, because you will smear your ink and get it on your hand and smear all over the page, and watch me eat my own words as I do this as well. You will get your ink all over your page, and yeah, it's important to know these things. So, something you will also note, the nib that I am using is a unique nib. I have never seen one like this before, but I use this one because it is a balanced sort of nib. It's not super thick or super thin, but it can be both, and I just like it for that. I may switch to something a little thicker. Something you don't want to do when you're doing this kind of stuff, especially with a steel nib, is go back and forth a lot. Like I was just doing there. You do not want to do that because you will eat through your paper like nobody's business. Also something that I need to do. Every now and then you'll get a little ball of paper on a pen nib like this. There we go. Need to take the ball of paper off every now and then. What I usually do is I just run the nib over my fingernail, and that usually works. Does the trick. Okay, so now, because I'm going for a thick line right here, try and get it all in one shot. I did not. There. Try again, all in one shot. That was a lot better. I'm pushing fairly firm onto the paper for this because I want to do this in such a way. I like my sharp angles in my drawings, but you'll notice that I also have a lot of smooth lines. It's a very strange art style, but it works. And that's what matters. And the reliance on thick and thin lines is very important, at least in this style. For those of you who are interested in drawing in a style remotely similar to this, my style does have a lot of ups and downs. For instance, I probably use way too much detail, probably. Stuff like that. Let's see here. My style revolves around the color black a lot. You will see a lot of black in my work, but it will not always be pure black like what I'm doing here. I use a lot of hard lines because I like hard lines for some reason. And you will often see very sharp precision in my work as well. I'm not rough or fast really when it comes to inking. There's that little ball of paper I was trying to tell you guys about. Get it off. Go on. Go on. Off of the nib. Is it stuck? It's stuck. There it goes. Oh, it's actually stuck between the tines. Brilliant. Come on. Off of the tines. There we go. That took way too long. And it's still on there. Well, we will just leave it alone then. As long as it's not causing me a problem. Okay. Leave that there. This line. Then that line. Inking can be very relaxing. Art in general can be very relaxing. That's a good thing. I know a couple of people actually who just draw because they find drawing relaxing. So, if that is you, go ahead, go for it. Your drawings don't have to be amazing. Nobody's drawings have to be amazing. Goodness, I can find flaws in this drawing if I really tried. I'm sure everybody who is an art critic of some kind could find this, find errors in my drawing. For instance, this line is not straight in the slightest. There we go. Things like that. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you're good at drawing. All that matters is that you try. And some days you try really hard and get nothing. Other days you don't try at all and you get masterpieces. It's just all about the day, I guess. I seem to have it today. I don't trust that little ball of paper on the end of this nib. It's making my lines way too thick for this nib. Let's see if I can get it off with my cup here. Hey, I got it. Alright, so when you're working with fountain pens, fountain pens, dip pens, they both have a similar nib style. They can. Something you can do to help create thinner lines is flip the pen over. Like this. There we go. Now all of a sudden you have extremely thin lines, and depending on the pen nib that you use, and you have lots of control over how thin you want it. The line, that is. Now you do have to be careful about doing this though, because with a sharper nib, kind of like this one's kind of sharp, you can cut through the paper and get those little balls of paper and stuff that I was talking about. You can also bend your nib over if you push too hard. They really aren't designed to be used in such a way, but they can be. Okay, what is going on? Do I have a ball of paper again? Let's see here. There we go. Got it back under control. Guess I was just pushing too hard. Make sure that's nice and black. Like I said, my style revolves around black. Also, you have to be careful about how you go around the page with these. You can avoid those little paper balls by moving the pen in a specific direction, in a specific way. You learn these kinds of things when you do calligraphy, which I have experience with, hence why I have the pen. I enjoy calligraphy as much as I enjoy art, because calligraphy is an art, an old art, and I do wish there were more people who were interested in it, because it is a very interesting medium, a very interesting thing to do. There aren't very many people who do it anymore. In fact, most of the important documents in the US, in fact, most important documents have been or were done in some form of calligraphy, and handwriting styles like cursive, which some of you may be familiar with, were actually based on calligraphy. Formal writing, any sort of formal writing, has some sort of roots in calligraphy, which is actually really fun to think about. Anyway, if you're interested in learning how to do things like that, calligraphy is the way to go. There are also many different ways to use calligraphy in art illustrations, that sort of thing. What I use it for is mostly my line variation, which I do quite a bit of. You don't see it so much here, but you will in a minute when I go and do it, because I I go back over my line art a second time. But what you will see is I mostly use it for line variation. Calligraphy nibs are designed to bend and move in such a way that you will actually get variation in your handwriting. This is a more smooth, more natural sort of nib. It's natural isn't really the right word. It's fine. Yeah, it's a more fine nib. It's not very broad or anything, as you can see. It's designed to be fine. It's not have a whole lot of thickness in the lettering. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm neglecting to find my words, but it's not meant to be super duper thick or thin. It just happens to sort of cover both of them. So there we go. This is where you have to sort of hold your breath, actually, to get these fine lines. That's another fun trick that I discovered. When you're working extremely small, if you hold your breath, this is actually a hunter's technique, it will slow your heartbeat and, well, you hold your breath in a specific way. You exhale and hold the exhale. But if you hold your breath in that way, you will slow your heartbeat down and stop your hand from shaking for such minute details as these. For instance, like this. And voila, it looks good. See, that's where, exhaling like that, very handy. I used to use it all of the time back when I drew smaller details in my work. I used to do drawings about the size of my thumb. Yeah. If you'll excuse me again for a second. There you go. Okay, I'll have to do that one more time because of the other eye. So I'm going to get that out of the way. Okay, so I believe I've got it. I'm going to try and, come on, pen. Flow. It's having trouble. Having trouble flowing. One moment. Oh, I see why. You've got some ink drying going on. Something that you have to combat. Okay. Also, having ink in your pen helps. There we go. You guys could probably see that I was running low on ink. Probably. Okay. Also, these pens have a very satisfying sound. So if you are interested in those things, there you go. Okay, flip over to the broad side of this nib. And again, like I said, only lean in real steep when you're working on extremely fine details, such as these. These lines are so thin, this nib actually, I don't think, could produce them, but I'm going to try anyway. Okay, wow. Surprisingly enough, I got those. And I'm just going to go through and try and get all of the super duper fine lines so you guys don't have to sit here and watch me do it. Okay. And there's a few more around the face. Okay. So I've got all of those. I'm going to go through and grab this right here. Pretty sure those are all of the ultra fine lines that I'll be doing around the face anyway. I will definitely be doing more fine lines later as we work our way down, but for now, I think we are finished. So, often, well, there are a lot of tricks that can be learned with each different thing that you do with your art. There's always a trick to every medium, always a trick between every tool, and learning said tricks is a good idea. Just like that. The hunting trick. I mean, I don't think very many people know that. The whole slow your heartbeat to get finer lines for doing something like this. It's just, if you think back over all the knowledge that you possess, I'm sure you will think of something that will wind up being better for drawing than what you currently do. There we go. And I'm sure that holding breath thing will work for you digital artists as well. Quite sure of it. Not that I do digital art. I actually have not done digital art. I've been wanting to attempt it, but I do not possess the money for a decent drawing pad. Something I've been sort of trying to save up for on the side, but I barely have the money for the supplies that I have. Eyelashes. That can be very, very time consuming. Okay, so over here I tried to curl the hair around. So I'm going to see if I can actually get that to come through with the ink. Now the annoying thing about working with ink is that you do have to wait for it to dry, and depending on the ink and how much you use, it can be a lot of time. This stuff, when it dries properly, will only take about 5 to 10 minutes, but that again depends on how much ink I've actually put down on the paper. So there we go, got that thin line there and also the thick line there. And I'll probably go over this again after I erase and everything, but line art is a tricky thing, especially with as many lines and details I have in this. I get a lot of comments about that in my art, is that I have very detailed work. Honestly, I don't see it as detailed. For me, detailed would be including all of the different things in the eye and all of that. But that's me. I guess it's because I notice things other people don't or something. I don't know. Maybe you guys can figure it out. But just because my art is super highly detailed and stuff like this, doesn't mean that yours has to be. In fact, a lot of the Disney art styles, right, are not very detailed at all. I've seen some where they just do the basic shapes. I mean, if you look at the Disney shorts, you'll see a lot of stuff like that. That's just, those were all art styles at some point that somebody had put onto a storyboard, and it wound up in the film, or whatever. Any sort of film. Even the animated ones now, I'm not talking about the hand-drawn ones or anything. The animated films even will have stuff like that. It's something you can look for. I've seen a lot of artists go really far just by learning a Disney art style. Just one. And it's okay to copy other people's work, by the way. Just don't claim it as your own, because it's not yours. Like, I would be fine if you copied my stuff, if you printed it out to learn, copy, whatever. That's how I learn so fast. It's one of my techniques, is copying other people, actually. But I've gotten to the point where I can copy people just by looking at their work. I don't actually have to print out anything to copy. And I'm sure eventually you guys will get that way as well. Just to make sure that is going where I want it to. Okay, I'm going to have to wrap around this way because the way my pen is. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. If not, I am sorry. Okay. Just trying to get my wrist to curve around to match this curve that I put in. I will probably have to go back and clean that up. Okay, I'm just looking over the piece, making sure I got all of the stuff that I wanted to over there. Let's see here, we got plenty of ink. Let's go back over here. And there we go. Now, there are some people who believe that your lines should be constant and smooth. You should never stop unless you take your pen off the paper. I am not one of those people. I think your lines can be smooth even if you do what I do, which is lift off the paper a whole lot and make scratching sort of lines. Sketchy, scratchy, yeah. I think you can sketch with a pen like that and create your line art. It's fine. Just, you know, if you really want to hide that you do that, just go back over it again. Kind of like what I do. Let's see. Oh, I actually forgot this right here. Right there. There we go. This is actually, that was an accident, but it looks actually pretty good. So I'm going to take Bob Ross's advice. If you don't know who Bob Ross is, you can Google him. You could YouTube search him. He's a really cool artist. I learned a lot of tricks from him, and I don't do oil painting. Bob Ross is an oil painter. But there you go. I'm going to take Bob Ross's advice and enjoy the happy accidents. There we go. So examples of line variation over here on the dark side. Here you go. Boom. Very dark line all of a sudden out of this pen. Something that you guys haven't quite seen out of it yet. All of a sudden this thing can do very thick lines. See? It's because I'm putting a lot of pressure behind the pen. And there are some fountain pens, this is not a fountain pen, but there are some fountain pens that you can get away with this. If you can find a store called Daiso, D-A-I-S-O, a Japanese store, they sell Japanese goods. If you can find them, they will sell a fountain pen, and I really love that fountain pen. It's a ballpoint fountain pen. They sell two of them, a $5 ballpoint and a $1.50 ballpoint. Both of them have flexible nibs, just like the one that I'm using here, except it's a ball. So it will move in every direction without scratching the paper, and it will flex, just like this one does here. And that's how I'm getting these really thick lines and really thin lines. And all the same tricks apply. Turning it over will get you a thin line, everything. I wish I had one to show you guys, but mine have disappeared for some reason. I haven't a clue where they are. I have two of them. I have a black one and a silver one, and yeah, I don't know where they went. But if you are nowhere near a Daiso and cannot find the pen, it is a Rosa Bianco, or Rosso Bianco. It's a sort of a Spanish pen sort of a thing. I don't know why Daiso sells it, but they do. And it is a really... oh, crud. Well, that's a problem. That's an ink blob. What am I going to do about that, I wonder? I guess I'll find out. It's a really good pen. You know what? I think I'm going to take this ink blob and I'm going to use it to my advantage. Come here, ink. You can go like this. And now, anybody who looks at this piece of art, they'll think, oh, wow, isn't that an interesting thing that he did? But everybody who watched the stream will go, actually, he just made a mistake. And it happened. There you go. Voila, I'll come back with some white or something on that later. And it will look amazing, probably. So I'll do this. Weird. Now I'm out of ink, basically. Here, I'll just change up my drawing style. So there. And I'll just make sure I leave a little like this. Create another spot like that. It connects, and voila. Now, one of the downsides of this nib that I'm using is that it doesn't cover ink over large areas very well. You might have noticed. Gosh, the paper underneath it there is totally soaked. But yeah, it does not cover large areas very well. It's bad about that. But it is good at very sharp and fine sort of things, like that. There are tricks that you can use that will get you the effects that you want with this. Alright, now what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to really make sure and shake my pen off so that we don't get another ink blob like that. That was horrible. So now I'm going to try this up here, like so. And I'm going to see if I can get this to work right. I've been trying to imitate this style for a long time, very long time, and I have yet to master it. This is the style of a Japanese artist who created Persona, the PlayStation exclusive game. Persona 1, 2, 3, and, well, I think all of them have his art style. And if you don't know what art style I'm talking about, just look up Persona artist or something like that. I forget his name right off the top of my head. But he has a very interesting art style, and I rather enjoy it. Let's see here. And for those of you who are looking for YouTube artists, just look around a bit. Mark Crilly's pretty good. Christopher Hart, he has his own book series even, and I have a few of his books. Mystic Quartz is a good one. I like Bittersweet Nightmare as well. That's just me, though. Some of you guys might not like her art. She does a lot of watercolor. You can find an artist to fit just about any category in the style that you're drawing. You know, I've seen artists who draw anime and use colored pencils. I've seen artists who do what I do and use pens like these. I've seen marker artists like myself. I particularly like markers. There's a wide variety of artists who use multiple different medias. So if you can't find somebody you like, just give me a comment somewhere and I will make sure and find somebody for you. Because, you know, why not? Okay, so I'm going to see, can I get away with that? I think I can. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and thicken that up a little bit. And I'm going to thicken this up a little bit. Kind of something that I do. And I'm going to put a little fabric wrinkle over here in the dark of this. I'm going to go ahead and fill this in a little bit more as well. And I'm going to make another fabric wrinkle right there. I'm going to put a white line in here. Fabric-y wrinkles stuff. And voila. We have fabric wrinkles in the shadow. And more light white lines will be put in later. If you're wondering what white pen I use Sakura Jelly Roll. I don't recommend them though because they can be finicky. Really finicky. Alright, so something I neglected to do over here was actually draw wrinkles on this side. Do that to end it, to sort of end the line. Yeah, okay, so then all of this can move over here like that. And all of a sudden we have something that looks like fabric, sort of. A sort of fabric, like that. Whatever works, right guys? And all because of this one little ink blob down here did all of this happen. Make sure and smooth these out. Okay. And now I will do the rest. And like I said, I will go back and do the rest of my line art in a minute. I do double coats to really make sure that I get all of my ink through and well, and, you know, stuff. I have seen artists who actually don't even complete their lines in their work sometimes, and it looks really good. You can see I complete my lines for the most part. And you'll notice down here I'm not being particularly precise about what I am drawing, because it really doesn't matter. I hope I can get away with that. Maybe one right there. And here. Yep, I think I can get away with that. Okay, so I'm going to leave these pencil marks in. Now I'm going to go into the background. We're going to play in the background now, guys. Reminds me of Little Big Planet almost. Okay, so I'll do this. I am going to color in this spot right here. And of course all of this back here. And there we go. And I'm going to do the ground, but it's not going to be flat, because the ground is never actually flat. Something to remember. Oh yes, I should do mountains in the background, but I'll do those with just color. Something that you see often in anime, especially older anime, it is, well, something that you see often is watercolor, big watercolor pieces, and that's a good thing to remember. Initially, anime was done with watercolor, because watercolor is very big in Japan. They used watercolor a lot. Like the traditional Japanese drawings and stuff The colored ones, I believe, were watercolor. I could be wrong there. Don't quote me on that. But I believe they were watercolor. And so, true to its form, anime being a Japanese drawing style, or manga. Manga is generally black and white, though. They both use watercolor. So now, we're going to try and replicate our grass strokes here. Crack over there. Hey, look, rocks. Squiggly lines. And voila, we have rocks and grass, and they look very rocky and grassy. Something you can do, which I will do here, is little lines like this, especially around things that are sitting down on the ground. It will sort of give the illusion that they are actually sitting there. I'll grab a little more ink. I've gone and inked myself. I guess I'm part of the drawing now. There we go. What I should do is the real Japanese method for this, because I like to stick to as authentic a Japanese method as I can, mostly because it works a lot. I mean, the Japanese do things a certain way for a reason. It's often because it works. But what I should do, if I really wanted to do a authentic Japanese sort of method or drawing, would be to grab a brush, because the Japanese use brushes. So, what I think these will be, because I have the doorways black, I think these will actually be dark gray, not black. I think. Grab a little more ground. You can thank Charles Schulz for that. He is the original artist for the Peanuts comic strips. If you've never seen his art before, go look up his art. It is interesting. He is no longer alive, like many good artists, but there you go. Apparently, the rule in art is in order to become famous, you have to die first, which is silly, but there you go. It's mostly just because good artists are never really recognized in their lifetime, which really sucks. I'm gonna come back here and do these lines like I should have done a long time ago. See, now I have to dodge all of my ink because I went and did this. Didn't I say that I was going to eat my own words here? Well, there you go. Try and do this. Come on. Round out my corners because I like to. So, have you guys been watching anything interesting lately? I'm always interested in different television shows. Every now and then I get recommendations for television shows, but the last good one I had was My Hero Academy in English, or Boku no Hero Academia, for those of you who speak Japanese or watch the Japanese version. Often I will be requested to watch animes and stuff, mostly because I like watching anime, but I watch cutesy animes, which is kind of a strange thing, but there's a category for it. I really liked that one, My Hero Academy. I'm currently waiting on the next season to come out. The first episode is out, but they only have it in Japanese. They do not have it in English in the sites that I've been to, which is okay. I don't mind watching it in Japanese. But yeah, I'm just waiting on the new episodes to come out, as is everybody who's interested in that show. It's actually really interesting is I've ran into people on the internet playing video games, right, who watch the show, surprisingly enough, and I just, run into people. It's like, oh, you watch the show too? Cool. Yeah. I was recommended to watch that show by 2 people. So thank you very much, those 2 people. You know who you are, though only one of them actually watches my videos. So second person, I've already thanked you in person anyway, but there you go. I have, surprisingly enough, 110 subscribers now. Not that any of you really care. It's just, 110. That's a big number. It was amazing when I hit 100. I never thought I'd get there. Especially with my channel just sitting there at 90 for so long. Gee whiz. But we got to 100, and now we're at 110. You guys really like the kind of stuff that I put on my channel, so I will continue to come up with my own crazy variety of content. By the way, don't worry guys, there will be a new Nerf Pros and Cons very soon. I just need to get out and record it on a day when I'm not feeling really bad. Yesterday was particularly bad for me, but that's okay. I will try and get that done, Nerf Pros and Cons, soon. The weather's starting to get nice out here again. Well, nice for my state. It rains a lot here. But there you go. We have now created a finished art piece. And now I will find some tissues or something like this piece of paper to wipe the bottom of my pen off because I need to go and wash it and all that now. So there you go, guys. I'm going to sign this. I'm going to dip my pen in ink, and then I'm going to sign this. There we go. And if you're wondering why I sign my pieces this way, for those of you who have seen the few things I've done art-related on my channel, the reason I sign my pieces this way is because those are my initials, MW. Today is the 4th, or the month of the 4th, sorry. Month of the 4th, the day, gosh, I forget what day it is. I don't keep track of these things. I should, the 20th. 20. And of course the year 18. There you go. And then sometimes I do a fun little calligraphy swirl thing like that. And I'll do another one. Yep. Alright, so the very last thing to do is put my ink away. I'm going to set this aside, let it draw. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comments below. Should I do another video like this? Should I not do another video like this? Just let me know what you guys think. I mostly did this for those of you who are interested in watching my drawing stuff. My drawing videos don't usually get a whole bunch of attention, but there are those out there who really like to watch them. So, currently what I'm doing is I'm going to be pouring my, I'll just move this up a little bit, pouring my ink back into my container like this. Very, very dangerous. One slip and you can have ink all over whatever you're working on. And this is not, I mean, it's easy to clean up because it's water soluble, but this stuff does not like to come off when it is dry. In fact, I already got ink on my table right there. There you go. Now I'm going to go and wash my pen. So, thank you all for watching. Please like the video down below if you liked it, vice versa if you didn't. And thank you all for watching. Stay awesome, guys.